Hi everybody, Quint Kessenich for Inside Lacrosse. This is Face-off Yearbook 2019. This is the essential guide that you need. It's the almanac, it's the Bible of lacrosse. I don't go anywhere during the spring without this reference guide. You can find yours on InsideLacrosse.com. Right now, let's take a look at the top 20 preseason according to Inside Lacrosse. Number 20, let's start with the UMASS Minutemen. Head coach CORNELL beginning his 25th season. This is a team that caught fire late in last year, winning 11 straight games, making the NCAA tournament. They bring back Chris Connolly and Jeff Trainer. The CAA is wide open this year. I expect a better season for teams like Delaware and Towson. Michigan is number 19, Inside Lacrosse Face-off Yearbook. Brent Noseworthy, Kevin Mack return. Interesting that this team's 19th in the country, yet picked last in the Big Ten. Something's got to give. I think the Wolverines are better this year. I'm just not sure how much. Number 18 is Romo, Robert Morris. This is a team that scared the living daylights out of Maryland in the NCAA tournament last year. They lose their two top players, and the league, the NEC, is stacked this year. Robert Morris, maybe a little overrated at 18. Out of the Big Ten, coming in at number 17, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Rough year last year, in the middle of the season especially, where they lost 5 straight. But I think this team's going to be much better this year. Jack Jasinski, Trey LeClaire. It's a bounce-back year in Columbus for the Buckeyes. The 2016 champs, North Carolina, comes in at number 16 this season. Good start last year, 6-0, and then everything went wrong. They lost 7 straight games, did not make the NCAA tournament. Defense is the question mark moving forward. Will Bowen, Under Armour All-American, maybe a starter from day one. Evan Egan out of California. We'll see some time down low for Joe Bresci. The Dane train comes in at number 15. Scotty Marr and the Purple People Eaters last year making a big run to championship weekend. But if you look deep here, this is a tough read this year, quite honestly. Dehoga Nanakope is back. Jacob Patterson, I believe, is a star in the making. But midfield depth, defensive midfield, face-offs, team defense, where is Albany properly slated? That's a huge question. I'm not sure right now. We got them at 15 for the time being. The Princeton Tigers, who will score a lot of goals, coming in at number 14. Michael Sowers, he's a Tewaaraton candidate, maybe a favorite. This kid can do it in so many ways, operating behind the cage, really elevating the play of his teammates. George Bond comes back on defense, but look closely at Princeton's schedule. You got Yale and Cornell to contend with in the Ivy League, and you play non-conference games against some heavy hitters, Johns Hopkins, Rutgers, Denver. This is tough for me to see Princeton at number 14. I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. Lehigh comes in at 13. I think teams like Lehigh, Delaware, Richmond, and Virginia will all increase their win totals in 2019. Lehigh brings back a core of goal scorers. They got good specialists with Craig Chick, freshman Mike Sisselberger facing off. This is a team that's going to do some damage in the Patriot League and give Loyola everything they can handle. How can Rutgers get over the top? They come in ranked number 12th preseason. This is a team that lost some heartbreaking games last season by 1 and 2 goals. They've been sniffing around the NCAA tournament for 3 years and haven't gotten over the top. Kieran Mullins is their leading scorer. Adam Shirambides comes back after an injury. I like the continuity and veteran leadership that Max Edelman provides in goal. Rutgers got to win some close games. Tucker Dordevic and Brendan Curry, now sophomore midfielders for Syracuse, and I see a lot of upside with this Orange team. I think they're a little underrated here. I think they're going to make a run for championship weekend. You got Dordevic, Curry, Solomon. There's a lot of proven scoring. The defense is solid, and they had continuity of fall practice this season. No mumps. Syracuse is back. In a loaded Big Ten, Penn State, I believe, is one of the favorites in that league. They come in at number 10 in the nation. And in my eyes, Memorial Day weekend is not too far away for this team that is stacked with offensive talent. Goal scoring will be in no short supply this year for Penn State with guys like Mac O'Keefe, Nick Spillane, Kevin Hill. They're all back. You got a veteran defense and a coach who has been there before. Penn State, if they were a stock right now, I'd be buying. The Blue Jays ranked number 9 preseason with head coach Dave Petramala. This was a good team last year. They made the quarterfinals. Can they take that next step to greatness? They bring in 2 freshmen, Joey Epstein and Evan Zinn at the midfield. Epstein will be the quarterback behind the goal to complement guys like Kyle Marr and Cole Williams. Scoring should be in no short supply. My big question mark, defensive midfield. Isn't that always the case at Homewood? Michael Krause and the Cavaliers of Virginia coming at number 8. I don't think there's a player who benefits more from the dive rule than Krause. He's surrounded by firepower. Lars Tiffany, the run and gun style, last year, 12 wins. They got over the hump. They finally won an ACC game in the semifinal. I think this team is sitting on a big year. Tough early season schedule, games with Loyola and Lehigh right off the bat. Midfielder Colton Jackson, healthy in 2019. The Denver Pioneers ranked number 7 preseason. Ethan Walker, you talk about a lefty sniper, none better in the country. And Austin French running the show for Bill Tierney. Life after Trevor Baptiste, though, that's the big question. What's the possession margin going to look like this year out in Denver? Face-offs and goaltending, 2 critical elements for Notre Dame. Number 6 inside Lacrosse Face-off Yearbook. Kevin Corrigan brings back a nice core of offensive players. Brian Costabile, 30 goals from the midfield. And when Brendan Gleason was healthy last year, this offense really was humming. Defensively, the law firm of Krantz, Cohen, and Keelty, as good as it gets. Maybe this is the year that Notre Dame wins the Golden Trophy. Last summer in Netanya, Israel, we were all captivated by the face-off work of young Tim Graham of Team Australia, going head-to-head with the best in the world. He ends up at Cornell. It's one of the reasons why they come in at number 5. Jeff Teat, the spearheaded leader of this offensive group, one of the best passers that I've seen in the last decade, surrounded by sharpshooters. Question marks in goal, you got a new goalkeeper, and you lose your number 1 defender. But everything says that Cornell should be a national contender. When I opened my face-off yearbook, the number 1 thing that jumped out at me was Loyola at number 4. Maybe a little bit of a reach, but when you dig deeper and you look closer, and you realize that Pat Spencer may be one of the better attackmen that we've seen play in the last 20 years. Yes, folks, 20 years. There's no reason to think that Loyola can't dominate the Patriot League and be a top seed for the NCAA tournament. Spencer, dodging, feeding, playmaking. He is just brilliant to watch. The one thing he'll have to improve this season is his shooting. He only puts about 63% of his shots on goal, shoots less than 30%. If he can improve that number this year, look out. Tuarton Trophy goes through Pat Spencer. John Tillman has coached at Maryland 8 seasons. They've made championship weekend 7 times. That's one of the reasons why Maryland is ranked number 3. Jared, Bubba, Curtis. This is a rock-solid roster. Add Chase Cope, a Navy prep transfer, to the mix. No reason to think that Maryland's anywhere outside the top 5. Cade Van Raphorst and JT Giles Harris, maybe the best 1-2 defensive duo in the nation. That's why Duke is ranked number 2 for John Danowski. Brad Smith scored 65 points last year, switching between midfield and attack. Where do they play him this year? Nakai Montgomery, late season heroics, championship weekend. What does he have in store for his sophomore season? There's a lot to look forward to in Durham with guys like Joe Robertson, Sean Lowry, and Joey Manown back. 2018 champs come in ranked number 1. It's the Yale Bulldogs, playing this year without Ben Reeves, but they were not a one-man operation last year. Jackson Morrill will be the main man on offense in terms of orchestrating and coordinating. Jack Ty, 35 goals, step-down shooter extraordinaire, and Matt Gaudette inside. Okay, this team is stacked. When you think about picking up a guy like T.D. Erlin from Albany, facing off 60 to 65% perhaps on the docket, and then Chris Fake, maybe the best one-on-one cover defender in the country, a veteran goalie now as a sophomore who won a ton of games last year, and there's no reason to think that Yale, especially with their schedule, because it's not that tough, no reason to think that Yale won't be a participant in championship weekend, Philadelphia.